This majority of people that you're going to be working with have the idea that you have to make something happen. Don't do that. Just get up. All right.
Put it on solid ground.
And so, and that's where they teach from.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you got to make this horse do something because it's a competition between you and the horse.
Right.
Instead of learning how the horse moves, how the horse learns, and developing all these ranges of gaits within that. And and me and this guy would have really got along because that's what I tell people. First thing we do is put somebody on a horse and put a set of reins in their hands,
Yep.
and then tell them get out the horse's mouth.
Yep.
Well, number one, realizing that when you put a set of reins in somebody's hands, they're going to use them.
Right.
Whether they know what they're doing or not. So what we end up creating is a bunch of people that ride on their hands.
Yep.
Okay, and then there's somebody standing out there saying, "Get out that horse's mouth."
Yep, she said almost the exact same thing. Well, and then you got, like the one girl that I watched, she was afraid to touch the horse's mouth. And she's like, but you have to have appropriate contact, like we've been talking about.
Yeah, you have to be able to take hold of the horse.
Right.
And you have to get the horse to where he's okay with
right.
that.
And that was her, like, similar, because you don't want them bracing against you or doing this whenever you put a little
you don't want
contact.
that brace, and that's what these bending exercises and this thing that I've been teaching you about getting him to give.
Yep. She was very complimentary of how soft he was and how soft my hands were.
Very good.
So that was good.
But you got to have that softness
all the time
in your legs too.
And that was kind of, and she was like trying to explain how you want to take it, on and off and move it and get it going, but you don't want it to be where it's like every 2 strides you're doing the same thing.
You want your legs to be there,
but not be there. Yeah.
You want your legs to be there, but only using them when you need them.
That was,
But if you're somewhere where somebody's been teaching you.
Well, I mean, that was, drive to get him moving forward.
Yeah, but that's not, see what happens when you do that kind of stuff, or sooner or later it means nothing to the horse.
That was her point.
Then everybody stands around and talk, well, that's a dead-sided sucker.
Or then you need to use even more, or
right.
bigger spur, or more whip.
Right. And that's one of the things that I don't understand, especially in the dressage world, about getting up there with a set of spurs on, and then I got my crop. I'm sorry, it don't require all that. and most people, to be perfectly honest with you, are not coordinated enough when they're up there to use all those items. And so if I'm going to have to use a crop, okay, well then I need to go back and work on move. Okay, but you see, the greatest majority of people sit down on that horse with the idea that they have to create something. They have to make something happen. That's a big word in the horse world. I want you to make. Okay? Not I want you to teach this horse.
Right.
Or I want you to get in there and start developing all these things with this creature. And so then, it just becomes less and less. See, when I'm working with somebody, and especially when we're doing groundwork and what have you, sometimes I will switch from a whip with a flag on it
Okay.
to a regular lunge line. You know why? Or to a regular lunge whip. You know why? They've already desensitized that horse, and they don't understand how to use that flag well enough to create energy here. Okay?
Mhm.
So they've kind of desensitized the horse. So I'll take a regular whip, and then I start teaching them, you're moving to the left. We need to go this way with that whip.
Mhm.
Okay? Because sometimes you need to be able to reach out and touch, just like sometimes you need to be able to take hold. Okay, go ahead and get on. Let me close this gate. I'm going to. Okay, you kind of got your arm braced right here. Move it to your left just a little bit. Now, what he was feeling from you right then was more pullback than he was that there was an open spot. Now, you want to learn to keep your arms in by your side and relax. But now, move this hand out here a little bit. Now, see, your elbow pivots, rotates. Yeah. And that still keeps your elbow by the side. Now, use your right hand and go ahead and shorten that rein a little bit. Just open that hand. See, he's looking over here. There's a horse over here. Just close it. And good. You see him put the slack in it. Now, I'm going to show you another little something. Do it again. Close it. Take this leg a little bit and kind of turn that toe out. Now, but what he did was walk forward, go ahead and bend him. Okay, you did a little too much with that leg because what you wanted to do, hey, what you wanted to do right here, all right, now bend him. Just wait and set and just let him, see he's looking here. That's where his focus is. And so some of it becomes about you teaching him, that ain't none of your business. Okay, now, the other thing is I want you to, let's see what he does. Were you just sitting up there and folding your arms a little bit? All right, now, you see his head turned a little bit to look at me where he had an eye over here? All right, now just pick up this right rein. Let him run into that. No, don't change anything. See, it's about, you can see him giving a little bit, but he just hadn't quite figured out that he's supposed to bring this head all the way around. And he's kind of laying on it. Yeah. All right, but go the other side, but what you want to do, just wait on him. See, he wants to look out there. Now, this is where it becomes important. You've got to have the patience to sit there and wait until he puts that slack in there. Okay. Okay. Then when he puts that slack in, see, the horse learns on the release. I can see his eyes blinking right now. So he's trying to figure this out. Okay. But he's looking back over here. Now I'm fixing to show you something. Huh? See, people a lot of times do not just get the horse to pay attention. Okay. All right. So what I would do with you, maybe something we ought to do, and I can see I'm starting to see a change through here. Not near as much fat down through here, but that crest on him.
That's why we're putting him
Huh?
That's why we're putting him on the metabolic supplements.
Okay, and you may need to sweat that crest.
What does that mean?
That means put a neck sweat on him.
Oh, okay.
and
that it won't just go away?
Well, it'll help sweat that fat down off of it.
Okay.
Okay. And because, you know, you don't want to, you want to be active about that crest, because if you don't do something with it, at some point it'll do that. It'll actually break.
Okay.
It'll break over. And then you got a flop sitting up there on his neck. Now, all right, go ahead, shorten that rein. All right, but now, close your hand. And just wait on him. See, he's trying. You see him raise that head. You see him start doing this. Now, move this hand to the left just a little bit. But now, go ahead. See, you turn loose. When what you should have done was held that and let him find a place to quit.
Okay.
Okay? Because then that's when he'll, all right, now, open that arm up. Now, don't move your arm away from that. Good, just wait. Turn loose. Now, the reason I told you to turn loose then was because he did not move. Now, but had he moved, I would have held it until he found a place to quit. Okay? Then I would have turned him loose. Now, go to the other side. See how little. See? Now, so what that tells you, okay, is you really need to work more on your left. Okay, so let's try it again. See, he's bringing that nose back. Good. He put a little slack in it. You reward that, but then, and then once again, I mean, you got to be, go ahead. Okay. That's good. See, but you got to do this enough for it to get better. And then once he understands it, see, right now he's not quite understanding this. And it's probably because you've sat up there and you've kind of drug his head around instead of letting him figure it out. And you let him figure it out. Because most of us, what we want to do is we want to get a leg over the horse instead of getting the horse okay first. Okay, so you do these bending exercises. Turn loose. But you let him figure it out. And I don't ever turn loose if the horse is trying to push into my hands. Now go to this side. Just relax. See, a lot easier on that side. So you need to do more work on your left. All right, now pick up both reins and make contact with his mouth and see if he brings that chin back to you. Good boy. You see that? You can get that to the point to where you can pick that set of reins up and wiggle your little fingers. Okay. Now, boom. But see, when he's chewing, hold on till he gets quiet. There you go. See? Now. Good. And you see, that, believe it or not, it can even get softer than that. Okay. Now, see how little it takes? Pick up your left rein. All right. Close your hand on that left rein. See, when you started closing that hand, you could see him do this a little bit. Yeah. And that was him getting ready for it. Now, come to this other side. Just relax. Don't try and pull him around. You need to slow it down a little bit. Okay. Because what you're doing, what you don't want to do is end up where you're pulling the horse around. Okay. You want to give him an opportunity to come to it. Now, switch to your left rein. Good. Now close your hand a little bit. But you see, you can get that so good that you sit up there and don't have much contact with the horse, and you close that finger, and boom. And he just carries himself. Yeah. And because practicing that coming back, okay, practicing that coming back, and then also, you remember what I've shown you about practicing moving his shoulders over? Yes. Okay, just move his shoulders over here. Good. Now, okay, now, and see how little it takes. Don't try with your reins, try with your leg first. Now, had you opened up a little bit here, he probably would have stayed in place. Okay. All right, now, but close that right leg and look over here a little bit and watch him step back and over. See, we make hand riders instead of people that learn to use their legs. And they learn to use their seat, but first, all right, now, move his hind end towards me. Now, he's looking at me. You needed the support. Move that left leg back a little bit. Turn it out. Close this side up. That's what I keep doing. I only put this on and not. Yeah, but look here. There you go. Okay, now spread your hands. You see him come back.
Yep.
Now just raise your head up a little bit and just wait on him for a second. He's going to try and figure this out.
Good boy.
But now, see, my horses, when I back them up, I just raise my nose comes up a little bit, and that shifts my weight to my seat, to the back of my seat. And pretty soon, you're just doing this, and the horse is saying, okay, I'm going to get under you. Okay? But this is all stuff that you need to be doing. Firstly, a lot of what this woman was telling you has to do with you gaining confidence in him that it's going to be okay for you to just sit up there and ride.
She recommended a sports psychologist type of person to help people that have fear like I do, to help work through that.
I don't think you got fear of this horse. I think that what you have got, to be perfectly honest with you, you're trying to change the way that you're thinking because of the way that you've been taught.
Yes.
Okay? And so, with the more success that you have with him, and you getting to the point, and it's just like when I said sometimes about riding around here with your eyes closed a little bit, you ain't got to go far. But what you will recognize is the instant you close your eyes, you start feeling everything that's happening underneath you. Yeah. Okay? And learning to be able to just go and not getting in his way, letting him, he still has to learn how to come back to you, but you have to learn the when and the place to be doing push. Same thing I tell people on a lunge line. When I've got a horse on a lunge line, that line that's connected to him, here's my hands, it's my hand. That whip becomes my legs. Okay, so yesterday I got a video of her. In fact, she looks like Gigi. Okay, that this horse would drop her head and shake it a little bit. I'd bring that whip. After a little while, she figured that out. She quit dropping that head. But, hey, good morning. Good. But practicing that flexion, practicing stepping back, moving his hind end, moving his shoulders over. I mean, when we were out here the other day and I told you to do your figure eight and ride him through that, I'd almost be willing to bet you this horse can do a flying lead change.
I gotta get out of his way. That's the problem.
But now all you have to do on that flying lead change is shift your weight. Yeah. And tell him, because it's a matter of we're going from going this way to going this way. Okay. And so in the middle of that shift, you kind of cue him like you would to pick up the proper lead. But understanding the process of the cues, okay, I always ask. Okay? Then if I don't get a response, I may even ask again. But by the time I've asked the second time, the third time, I'm pretty well letting them know that, hey, this is what I really wanted to do. But that does not mean that I'm going to go to kill on it. Yesterday when I was working with this horse, and she picked up working the lunge line really quick. But when I would ask her, I'd kiss to her and ask her to pick up her trot a little bit. Mm-hmm. If she didn't move, I would do nothing but lift that whip and she would go. Okay. You know, but unlike him, that mare's an uncertain horse. She's uncertain because of the start she got. She did not get a good start. Okay, and most people don't understand. You get one chance at that. Okay? And so when you start doing now, just right here, open your hands, close. You needed to see how wide your hands are right now. A lot of, there you go. A lot of, good, turn loose. A lot of what, now, but when, see, it's a matter of learning to open and close your hands sometimes.
Yeah. When he went to grab the reins, I closed my hands.
You close your hands. Yeah. You learn to be a little quicker with that. Mm-hmm. Okay. But that's what it's about. That so much of what you're wanting to do becomes, see, that's him stepping away from the bit. Mm-hmm. Now, move his hip over. Now step back. See, and you don't lean real. I don't want you leaning. I just want you to open yourself up a little bit. And you see what happened the instant you opened up? Well, the reason that happens is because you're bringing that bit to the corners of his mouth. But a lot of times with you riders, they teach y'all to collapse everything inside. And I'm sorry, that's not always the answer. Okay, go ahead and just move him some. Good. Now, see, and you getting to the point to where you can just ask him. Right there, you had a change in the walk. Okay? And that's what you want to do is you want to practice this. You want to practice having that nice energetic walk. Okay? And then you want to offer him let's crawl. All right, now, a little bit of toe up, heel down, and slow it down even more. Little bit, breathe. Exhale. All right, now. Make a little contact with him so that he starts slowing it down. Go ahead, just right there. Just make a little contact. A little more. Toe up, heel down. You saw the change there? See, and you getting to the point to where you're operating your legs like you're mashing a gas accelerator. All right, now, just release and walk him out. Use your legs. Just a little bit. Don't bang him with them. Just ask him to move. Good. And you always work on the basis of let's see how little it takes. Okay? You can always do more. Good. All right, now, take hold and ask him to slow it down. Get you. There you go. A little bit. If you'd opened those hands up a little bit, he'd have probably brought that chin back to you. You needed just a little bit more on that left rein. Okay? Now, release him and walk it out. You see the difference in the walk?
Yep. That's when he actually stepped up underneath himself and thrusted forward instead of lollygagging.
Right. And him just getting, but you always have to work on seeing how little. See, I want my horse to have a range. If I want him to crawl, I want him to crawl. If I want him to really walk out, I want him to walk out. There you go. And he's back to you a little bit. Now, you feel him pick that up right away?
Yep. With just a little tap.
Yeah, with not much of anything.
Yeah.
Now, watch this. Let's go ahead and use your right leg and let's go ahead and change directions. Good. Little inside leg and push him over. Good. Now, all right, now release him and just walk him out. You see him come to that pretty quick? Now, he's really giving you some nice energy in that walk right now. Okay? But that's developing the whole horse. Now, and let me tell you, not every horse has a really good energetic walk on them because people don't work on developing that.
Okay.
I had a lady with a mule that said she was wanting to sell her mule. I said, why? She said, because he don't walk fast enough. Said, he don't keep up with my husband's mule. I said, well, teach him to walk faster. I don't want to have to do that. Then sell your mule. And I'm certain that she did. Good. Now, okay. You always keep in the back of your mind, and this is one thing I want you to do, is keep in the back of your mind, how little can I do? Okay? Right now, see how little you can do to get a trot out of him. Good. Good. Nice.
That's the one thing that she said too, is that I need to be able to get more range quicker. Does that make sense?
She said you need to be able to what?
Get more range out of him faster with less work.
Okay.
So I think
Well, that's a matter of you pushing now. Come around, now switch back, let's go left. Just roll left. Good. Nice switch. But push through it. There you go. Little bit. Good. Good. That right there, he picked it up a little bit. All right. Now the way that you get more range is your communication line becomes finer. So that means you have to offer him slow. Right there was a change. Little bit, slow it down. But there you go. But now offer him more range. You see, You got it right there. All right, now slow it down. You work on your transitions a little bit, breathe a little bit. All right, bring him on back to a little slower trot. All right, now release it and go to the range. See, that's all on development. See how little it takes? Let's turn to the left. Now switch back right. Let's go to the right. Good. Now, just push through it. Now, let me explain a little something to you about when you go to making those turns. Okay? Just stop right there for a second. Just sit down. Now, square your hands up, lift your head up a little bit. Come to your left rein just a touch. Now, lift your head up some because you're looking down. What I want him to do, and he's still chewing, lift your head up just a little bit more. Just wait. Just wait. As he starts trying to figure this out, because see, this isn't something you've been doing with him a whole lot. See, I'd have stopped him, raised my head, and backed up. But I wouldn't have done it through my hands. I'd have done it through my body. Now, the thing that I was going to tell you was that, he's ranging out right there pretty good. But you have to work on your transitions. You work on your transitions up, you work on your transitions down. In other words, you work on getting control of those feet because that's what you're after. You're after him letting you be in control of those feet. Okay? And when you're setting up there, it's about you developing the attitude, gee, there's 6 legs there and all of them belong to me. So if I want, I can move those legs 1 foot at a time, or I can really get some energy going and extend it out. But you developing the attitude, hey, I'm in charge of all 6 of these legs.
I don't need to keep putting mine on him to keep him going.
Right. And so when you start doing, you see, the human never thinks about how they learn how to walk. Well, they learn how to crawl first. Okay? And actually, before they even learn how to crawl, they learn how to turn themselves over most of the time using their head. Okay? And they don't think about this boy gets on the ground, and in just a matter of minutes, he's up moving all around. In just a few minutes, he can do all kinds of stuff. Okay? It takes us that long to develop a walk. Okay? But we get on him and interfere with it. And so practicing, especially with what you want, practicing that, and I will tell you something else about a human. Okay? Once they do get up, okay, and start walking, they never look at it. They never pay attention to how they move their body, and they damn sure don't think about how I learned to move my body. It just happened. Okay, well, there's some truth to that. But if you don't understand how you move this one, how you going to understand how you move that one? You know? And so learning how to move that horse, and it's just like you haven't quite developed your control through your seat enough yet by just sitting down or just sitting down a little bit and raising that toe up in that boot. Okay? Because you hear people all the time, drop your heel, drop your heel, drop your heel. When you ever heard anybody say raise your toe, find out what happened. Raise your toe, let me know what happened to your heel. Okay? So it's one thing to tell somebody to do that, and then you're telling somebody that's never looked at how they learn how to walk anyhow. Okay? But when you go into a turn, okay, and you're going into that turn and you're taking a little more control of that horse, okay? People in a turn a lot of times have a tendency to sit down a little too deep instead of powering through the turn. In other words, giving yourself the energy to move through that turn. Because if you ever paid any attention to how the human walks, when they get ready to make a turn, there has to be direction coming from somewhere, and energy and power coming from the other where. Yeah, in order to be able to make that turn and continue on. See, if in the middle of that turn, that's why putting somebody down here on the ground and putting a rope around their leg gives them a little understanding of what happens with him, because those reins are connected to his feet. And the left rein controls the left front and the right hind, and the right rein controls the right front and the left hind. Well, imagine me putting a rope around your leg and asking you to do something and then controlling it. In other words, interfering with your ability to walk. Now, spread you. There you go. Now, and so what happens so much of the time, that's what we end up doing. Now, right now, while you're sitting there, go ahead and ask him to bend. I ever tell you about getting fired from a job one time? Veterinarian's wife down there in Florida. Okay. When I first moved up to the Daytona area, this vet, I called for him to come, called his office for him to come out and pull a Coggins, and I didn't realize that the vet that owned the practice was somebody that I had dealings with down in Polk County. So they sent a female vet out to do the pull the Coggins, and when she got there, she got out of her vehicle. She was on the phone. She turned around and looked at me, and she says, Dr. Simonson wants to know if this is the same Ronnie Ford he knew from down south. And she said, I told her, I said, tell him, yeah. So he told her, says, yeah. She told him, says, yeah, that's him. Well, she hung the phone up and she turned around and looked at me. She says, he says he'll be here in an hour. And he come out, and we sat on his tailgate of his truck and sat there and talked for a while. And he said, man, I got some horses you need to be riding for me. So I said, well, that sounds like a good deal. I just moved up there. Nobody knew who I was. Right. And so the day I went over that Sunday to see the horses, well, I had 3 that I was going to be riding with, and he called clients up and would had them bring their horses to his barn for me to work with some of his clients' horses. And he, when he introduced me to his wife, he said, he told her, he says, we're going to abuse this man while we can. He said, because when they find out he's up here, said, you won't be able to get him to come out here and do this. And so I went to work riding for him. One of them was her horse that she had her and this horse fought the whole time. Okay. All right. It was because she was picking fights. Okay. All right. Well, they had a neighbor that she had told about me being there. She was going around telling everybody about this guy we got riding for us and doing this kind of stuff and whatever. Well, this neighbor come by and says, wanted to meet me. Well, this gal brought her out and was all hunky-dory about introducing her to me and what have you. Well, woman asked me if I'd come over and look at her. She had Hanoverians. Okay. I don't know if I'd come over and take a look at her horses. And I said, well, it'll be a few days, but I'll come by. Well, a few days went by and I didn't get over there right away. And one day she stopped back by there. Well, I'm working on my last horse. And I'd already been on this horse for about like 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. And this woman come up to the gate and I rode up there. And the whole time I'm sitting there talking to this woman, I'm flexing this horse. We're bending left, bending right, moving hips over, moving shoulders over, doing all this kind of stuff. All of a sudden, the door slammed at the house. This vet's little old wife come out there, and she come walking up there at that gate and looks at me. She said, we won't be needing you anymore. Why? She was upset that this woman had come by and had stopped back over to talk to me. Yeah. And that I had stopped and talked to this woman. But like I said, I had already been on that horse. Yeah. You know, she just wasn't aware that I'm capable of sitting there talking to you and move this horse and working on all this other stuff at the same time. Yeah. And so she turned around and headed back to the house. The woman that had stopped by there looked at me. She said, oh, my God. She says, I think I got you fired. What was that all about? I said, yes, ma'am, I think you got me fired. She says, oh, I feel horrible. I said, no, it must have been time. And later on that afternoon, the vet calls me and says, you want to talk to her? I said, no, sir, you the one that's got to go home to that at night. I said, not at all. Now, but you getting to the point to where, and you will get to where you don't do this, but the whole time and my point is this. The whole time me and you've been talking, you could have been doing stuff. Yeah. Okay? But now, when you get ready, when we move him again, and that's working on those transitions up, working on those transitions down. They're not very good. They're better than you think they are. But it's more about you getting control of your seat up there and learning about developing that feel between you and him. He's already feeling for you. I can tell you that right now. Okay? And he's really, you getting him to extend some stuff out pretty good. Yeah, that's way better than it was when we started. Yeah, but what you've got to do is, see, the only way that stuff gets better is by working on it. Yeah. And the only way that the communication gets to where it is or to where you want it to be, is by offering it to him. Okay, there. You see him do this? Yep. That's a big release. Now, rub his neck a little bit. Don't pet him, just rub his neck. Now, what I'd do is get up there a little further. I'd reach over on him and just really rub that neck. All right, now, let's go ahead and move him a little bit more. I want to see you doing more. I want to see more of the in the turns, working on maintaining your gait through that turn. Good. Now you see? Good. Now see you set so deep. All right, now extend him out. Push him a little bit. Let's go left. Come on, you ought to know. Now keep going, don't oversteer it. Push it. Right there. All right, come back right and push it. See, you maintain your speed a little better through that. Now, keep going. Go back right. Now, just switch back left. Good. Push. Right there, you needed to push a little bit. There you go. Good. Come back. There you go. Now go through it. Push right there. See, when you get ready to make that change back over there is when you have a little bit of difference in it. Now, straighten out and go down the rail when you get over there to this other side. All right, go ahead. Make your turn, then straighten out and come down the rail. We're going, good, push it. Good, he's using himself a lot better than what he was. Now, all right, now ask him to come back. Just a little bit. Now, you're losing contact with your stirrups sometimes when you go to make the change. All right, push him out. Maintain contact with your stirrup and just raise your toe in your boot. Raise your toe. Now, all right, make a right-hand turn. Now come back left and push through it. Come on, listen to me. Go ahead. All right, now come back to your right. There you go. Now push, push, push. Right there. You started doing a little too much up here and not quite enough with those legs. Now, and you're not quite keeping your contact as well as I'd like to see you do it. All right, now, just sit down all the way and relax. Spread your hands and lift your head. I want him to get a little quicker with this. Good. Now. Good. All right, now, just drop your reins on his neck and bring him over this way a little bit. See him right now, he's already looking to flex a little bit. Yep. Go down there, just right, look around. First you want to go to your leg and then you want to go to your, good. Nice walk on him right there. Just ask him to. Good. Close that left leg. Go ahead. You closed it pretty hard. Yeah. All right. Now, see how little. Good. Let him go down there. Move your hand forward and let him just go ahead and drop those reins down. Spread your hands a little bit and make some contact with him and ask him to lower that head. Good. Now move your hands forward a little bit, and that's where you want to get away from him. See, he's doing much better on that. Now, without using your hands as much, just make that turn. All right, now there you go. Good. A little bit. Ask him to lower that head. See, you can ask him to lower that head in that turn. There you go. And then when he gets there, that's when you want to move your hands forward a little bit so that he starts learning to stay there. Okay. Good. All right, now without picking your reins up, let's see if you can just sit down, relax, breathe. Exhale. Now you see, he's not stopping.
He was going to get a peppermint.
He's close that right leg. Step him back. Yeah, don't let him run into Sam's camera. Mine's busted. All right, let's work on the stop a little bit. Just sit down. Now, ask him to step back. Good. Don't lean on him, just shoot. All right, now. Okay, let's walk him off. All right, now just sit down. Toe up, heel down. Relax. Step back. A little quicker. That could have come a little quicker. All right, now. Good. Okay. That's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good. Good boy. That one was quick. You missed it.
That's all right. Camera got it. Now, but that, and I think we can work on getting your confidence built up to where you can ride this horse with an understanding all that's capable. I mean, you know, you look at how far you've come since the first time you and I met up there on the east side.
I was so intimidated last week by the size of the ring. Does that make sense?
Okay, well.
And not because I didn't think we could do it. It's just somehow in my head it was like, this is too scary.
Yeah, but you're putting that in your own head until you get to the point. It's kind of like a lot of times what I explain to people about working in a round pen, that I can put this horse here and treat this as a round pen. Well, every place is a round pen, you know, and so when you go into an arena, you're just in another place. And it's about you learning that, hey, his body works the same.
Everywhere.
All this stuff that I'm doing works the same. It don't matter if it's in this size arena, or 100-acre field. It don't matter. But I will tell you, I would some of the stuff that I would be doing with him, because I think he's moving so much better. And if she's got him on something that's going to help with that, then I would also be sweating that neck off some.
What do I need to do to buy a neck sweat?
I would buy a neck sweat. I would buy a neck sweat. He says, "Where's my peppermint?" I would buy a neck sweat, and I would also, God, let me tell you, my first stud horse that I bought was a neck connected to a body.
Okay.
It was so thick. He was so thick. Let me tell you what I'd do to this horse. And they got cream to put on them and all this kind of stuff. You know what worked the best? I would take eggs and break eggs up and load it with salt and spread it on his neck.
Okay.
All right.
Because the salt breaking down the egg creates
And
a lot of heat.
And creates heat. I could wrap him up, stand him out there and tie him, and in a few minutes you'd come back and there'd be water going underneath and what have you. But he was so big and thick that, you know, when we went in the show ring, I had to have that neck off of him to some degree.
Right.
As good as it could.
Well, yeah, because it creates a weird.
Huh?
They don't score as high, you know, especially in quarter horse. They don't like that.
Well, this horse he was already, when I bought him, he was 3 years old, and I actually, when I went to where he was at, and I've looked at the stall that he was in, the crap was so high in his stall that he had to duck to walk out the door.
Oh, wow.
And the pen that they had him turned in had 2x6s with nails sticking up in it. And I said, if you can survive in this, you can survive in anything. He had actually, the woman I bought him from, and like I said, after I got him bought, I'd bought a 1,300-pound snapping horse.
Okay.
The woman that owned him, he undressed her in the show ring. They're standing in the show ring. He reached up and just grabbed her blouse and pulled it off. Hey, I don't doubt that.